Think of Italy, and you might imagine ancient ruins, classical art, and the aromas of Tuscany. Indiana State University students didn't have to imagine. They experienced it as part of an honors class about classical cultures.
Like when you read about it, you have this idea in your head like where everything is, and then when you get here it's not how you envisioned it.
You can never imagine probably ever what it really looked like when it was new, but at least seeing it in person, you get a sense for this space, how crowded it was, how magnificent it must have been. If this, what little remains, is magnificent, it's something you can't see that in a picture. Okay, tell us about your project.
Student research projects came to life amid the ruins.
Well, I'm studying the Cloaca Maxima, which is the sewer that the Romans built to drain the Roman Forum, so the marshes no longer were here. Without the sewer, this would have been unable to support any of the structures.
Josh Rosina was pleasantly surprised to locate the remains of a building that is the subject of his research.
The Regia, it was the, before the Republic there was a monarchy, quasi-mythical, and this was the residence of the monarch. After that it was converted into like a temple, and it was the office of the Pontifex Maximus, the head of the state religion.
The students also helped a classmate who was not able to make the trip.
One of the students' special report was on the Arch of Septimus Severus, which is one of the great triumphal arches that marks the Capitoline Hill end of the Forum. And in her research, she had uncovered the information that this arch had actually, during the Middle Ages, been buried about halfway up. It's since been excavated down to its original ground level. But during the Middle Ages, there was actually, she also learned, a road that led through this triumphal arch. And it wasn't a very spectacular arch, because it was only half of the size it is currently. But as a result of that road going through there, medieval carts had scraped along the sides and left their markings. So there was physical proof on this monument of the changes that had happened to it through time, and the abuses and just sort of the wear and tear. Well, she couldn't find a picture, and usually you think you can find a picture of anything on the internet, but she was unable to locate any photographs of the inside of the arch that would prove or explain to her what those marks looked like and were they truly there. Once we were in the Forum and we began looking at the surface of the inside of the Arch of Septimus Severus, the marks were quite identifiable, and it was almost like we had discovered some major archaeological find for us, because we saw this finally after about a month of speculation as to what would this look like when we got there.
When I got here, everything seems completely different, in a place like everything is real close together. I didn't imagine everything would be this close together from what the textbooks. There's no words really to describe what you see here.
The traveling scholars were able to appreciate what they encountered on their journey because of what they learned in the classroom in advance.
We look at the literature, certainly, because it is a readings-based course, but we also look at the architecture and the art and the religion and the philosophy and the mythology and the science and so on, because there's so many of these aspects of the ancient world that influence our own.
And the Colosseum last night, like, that was just surreal. And the pictures that I took of the Colosseum they don't even look real.
Vinci was an older generation. He was about 20 years older than Michelangelo.
But think about what we did yesterday. Like, we went into the Vatican City, we saw the Vatican, and then we stayed out until midnight seeing the rest of Rome and took cabs home. That was fantastic. If every day was like that, I would want to live until I was like 200.
For Indiana State University, I'm Tracy Ford.